Hey guys, Adam Souza, Richly Rooted Community, just like a lot of y'all. I just hosted a social media call with a few people. Couldn't figure out how to get it recorded prior to that, but here we go. Now I figured it out. Wanted to go over a couple of the tips and tricks that we went over on the call, and we'll probably do another one. Jenna was talking to me about teaming up and doing one since she's also a social media guru. So let's get into a couple of the basics. So covered in this is ways to create long form content. There's a couple of ways to do that. We'll go over that. There's also in this is how to post your own podcast, how to create short clips using AI, so you don't have to run through hours of content on your own manually. It's painful, as well as scheduling content. So what I started with on the call was just kind of my backstory, right? So I started making music in 2003, which feels like a lifetime ago. I I came from a poor city called New Bedford. I had just moved to Plymouth, which is a very like rich uppity town where they were very racist. They called me all kinds of names for no reason, and I was very much like all my friends were like kind of in the hood in New Bedford. So I was a rapper. I was into hip hop. I was into things that this part of the state was not really into, and I got a lot of hate for it. So I got used to the uncomfortability because I actually performed at my high school talent show 3 years in a row, and yeah, it's kind of a way to face the music, pun intended, right? I have a whole crowd of people that hate me, and I'm scared shitless, but I put myself out there, and it ended up working out. In my young 20s, I opened for Waka Flocka, Cassidy, Hops, and I could have opened for Logic, D12. I almost co-headlined an MGK show. I had my own headlining shows, albums. I did a lot of stuff in music that I was out there with. So when I decided that I was kind of pivoting from music and going into business, I needed to create content. And it was very natural for me because I was already used to being on camera for music videos and being recorded on stage by people. And the uncomfortability of performing in front of people never goes away. And this was much less uncomfortable than that. So I say all that to say I get it. It's uncomfortable to do these things, but the biggest part is just to start. Look at me rapping over here. Didn't even really know it. So I started this meeting by showing everybody my first recorded podcast, right? So let me get to it here. I want to preface this by saying this is the third time that we had recorded this podcast. So you'll hear me in the beginning be like, let me quadruple check that. That's why. So let me show you just a minute or two of this so I can show you how I started on video. God, it hurts. Here you go. So I
Let me
am
quadruple check right here. Quadruple check. We are.
right with my son's Paw Patrol table, sitting on my son's bed, using I think my cell phone or a GoPro camera, something like that, and then I have a little microphone on the table recording.
10 p.m. just for anybody that doesn't know military time. If you didn't want to take the time and use the device
Yeah.
that you're listening to this on to
Eastern Standard.
Google it.
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard.
Super important.
Massachusetts was thinking about going to Atlantic time zone.
Were they?
That was a thing, yeah.
Interesting.
Thinking about getting rid of,
Like the daylight savings.
yes, that.
Yeah, I heard
That'd be
about
great. There's no point of it. We're not farmers. I mean, we are farmers, but it's not.
that.
We're not farmers anymore. We are farmers, but
Yeah.
we don't go off fucking daylight savings to know. We go off machines and
Yeah,
timers.
yeah. To be honest, I don't even know why we do that. What the point is, I'm not really
I think
sure.
it's just to be inconvenient and really fuck with us.
Could be.
As you can see, didn't want to show too much of that to bore you. I just needed to show you an example of just starting. Nothing is ideal about this situation. The audio sucks. The video angle is awful. The video quality is awful. We had no topics that we were talking about. We just decided, hey, Andrew, come over my in law's house where I'm living and let's make this podcast in here, right? Then you go from that to thinking, oh, well, maybe it just wasn't good because there wasn't enough camera angles. So let me show you something ridiculous. So this is one of the next podcasts that like really had an improvement. We had a few, I think 3 that were like that, and then this. Welcome to AA for Entrepreneurs. This is Drew. This is Adam. We got multiple camera angles this time. We got one there, one here, one there. This is great. Upgrading.
Yeah, dude, a lot of stuff has been going on. Tell me.
Still on the Paw Patrol table, right in front of us. Still with the bed right there. And for some reason, I thought it was a good idea to have all the angles. So I have like a camcorder, a cell phone, a Nikon. It just was all over the place and unnecessary. But again, all that to show you that all you have to do is start, right? Because then you get into things where it looks a lot more professional, right? Like I started doing events at cannabis conventions with a microphone and a camcorder, or like a DSLR camera on a tripod, and it was like a step up from there. And then we started recording with like an actual camera, multiple angles, and that kind of like took off on its own, became locally known, and really helped us. I say all that to say that without starting on that Paw Patrol table, none of what I'm about to say is possible. So just start. To me, long form is the most important thing, because long form is going to drive all of your short form content. When I first started making content 6 years ago, long form content, maybe even 7 years ago, it was not, we didn't have all this AI stuff to really help us. So let's just put this into perspective. I had an hour and a half long podcast. Now I had to take that and make clips. So what did I have to do? I had to listen to the hour and a half long podcast, time stamp it as I'm listening through. So I would listen, pause. Okay, 2 minutes, 35 seconds. When does that end? Okay, 8 minutes and 23 seconds. I start a new topic. So that was one timestamp. Then I had to go back to the timestamps, find clippable clips, put them into Adobe Premiere, clip them out, and then by then I was already exhausted. You're taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours to look through all these clips and get 10 clips. It just, the payoff wasn't really worth it. So, you know, back then it was really painful, but it's really important to have those short form clips. So let's get into the steps of how I would do that. Long form, you have a couple of different options to record your long form. If you do not want to pay for all these extravagant programs, for $10 a month, you could use the Google Meet platform, and you can do exactly what I am doing right now. It's probably the cheapest option to be able to create a long form content. I could have somebody in here doing an interview with them. I could, share my screen as you're showing, so I could do like seminars. I can do a lot of stuff for not a lot of money here. The upgrade from Google Meets would be StreamYard, which I will show you what that looks like. Now, they've definitely gone up in price since I use them. They have monthly programs. They have, that are billed monthly that are $89 a month and $45 a month. For me, I had so much video and everything, I needed the $89 a month, but that used to be $50. If you bill it yearly, they give you a nice discount, and that makes it a lot more affordable. If you know you're going to be using this, it's worth the money, is what I will say. So on StreamYard, let me show you what that looks like, because I still have a lot of stuff on here. So on StreamYard, you are able to create kind of like how Google Drive is doing. You go into here and you can have multiple guests, and it sets up a platform for you to then live stream. You could change your background images. Let's see, do I still have banners and things like that? Yeah, see, so like I have my logo. I have YouTube banners. I have backgrounds. There's background music that's free as well. Somebody was asking about that on the meeting. I just looked into StreamYard and they had it. So you add yourself kind of into the meeting. If you had a second guest, it would kind of just pop up like this example here. And in here, you can live stream to Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, X, YouTube, and Twitch. There's also a custom HTMP where you can do things like, I think, Substack, you can go on there. I think even Reddit, things like that. You could do that if you're smart enough to kind of code it in the background. But to keep it simple, for the best long form options, you have Facebook, YouTube, but then LinkedIn is super slept on. Then you have Twitch, which is a great live streaming platform. So you could take pre-recorded content that you can actually just record. If you notice here, I'm not in a live stream mode, so I can just record on here. I'm just out of storage and haven't paid the monthly fee yet. So when you record on here, it'll kind of save into a local thing. That's while you're kind of paying for the premium plan. You can get up to, I think, 80 gigs of storage, which is quite a bit. And it will, I have all my old recordings all on here, episode 99. I have a ton of things on here, and this is easy to be able to double dip with your long form content. And let me explain to you why. So with your long form content, you have a couple options. You can live stream it, or you can just post it, or you can do both. With StreamYard, you could take pre-recorded material that you actually create on StreamYard or on Google Meet. If you don't want to pay, the $45 to $90 a month, you want to pay $10 a month, you could create something on Google Meet, and then you can plug it into StreamYard, and you can live stream it. So it'll live stream to all those channels that I mentioned, and then it will also post it once the live stream is done. While the live stream is going, you will receive live comments from every single different platform that you are using, and you can respond to them in live time. So all those live comments will help drive traffic later on when it becomes a posted video. Now, that kind of takes care of the long form in short. I'm sure another time we'll dive into how to make good long form content, but the key is just to start. Just go, if you're watching this, after you're done watching this video, turn on your phone and go record some content. I want you to challenge yourself. So now that you have this long form content video, how do you post it on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube Shorts and even Facebook short form content, X short form content, all these different things? How do you place it? How do you make that without going through 8 hours of work for one podcast episode? Let me show you. So given the technology that we have nowadays, it really makes life very, very, very easy. Beyond easy. I found this great site called Opus Clip. So Opus Clip, for about $30 a month, will allow you to plug in a long form content and get amazing, amazing, amazing clips out of it. Let me give you an example. What I did with this program to test it out is I said, you know what? I'm not going to take an episode that I know is a great episode. I am going to choose a random episode that I had to do out of desperation driving home from work because I didn't get home in time to live stream. So I took a random episode, plugged it into the generator, and this is the clip that it came out with.
This is what I mean about consistency, persistency. Is like if you podcast for 5 years and then finally you get Gary Vee on your podcast. Now, people who have never heard you before have 5 years of podcasts to listen to and find out who you are and potentially become a fan of your brand, you as a human being. And then all of a sudden you have new supporters for your business. You have more people that you're helping. You have more of an impact on society, which is exactly what I am looking to do with all of this. I cannot and will not ever settle for mediocrity. Just not in my bones. I always want to be the greatest. I'm way overly competitive. I'm way the only time I really judge myself is initially when I lose. and I'm like picking apart every little thing I'm doing to make sure that that loss doesn't happen that same exact way the next time. Absolutely.
So literally just randomly generated a clip with beautiful, easy to read closed captions because you're getting all the senses involved, right? You hear, you see, you're reading. I guess if we had smell-o-vision is the only other way you could do it. You're getting more senses involved with the process of watching this. And then in case they don't understand what I say because I have a little bit of a Boston accent or maybe I said something too fast, it's on the captions there. Not only that, but it zoomed in just enough to make it a more compelling angle on the video. This is a car recording that's sitting stationary on my cell phone, and it turned it into a wonderful short form clip that I really enjoyed. So for $30 a month, it unlocks, I think, 300 credits, and you can use those to be able to plug into there and create content. I've only plugged in a couple videos, and I have 99 videos that I could post on social media, and it's absolutely amazing. So I can't wait to delve into this more. So there's a free version, right, that I have on here. On the free one, they'll allow you to export a certain amount of videos every month, but you just have to keep the watermark. On the paid version, it removes that watermark for you. On the paid version, you can also schedule a post to go on any of the social media sites that you're interested in using. So you can go TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. So very, 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 very important to be able to do that. So now, instead of spending 8 hours editing an hour and a half clip and then having to, put those clips into a folder, and Monday morning at 7, you have to post. Tuesday morning at 7, you have to post. Wednesday morning at 7, you have to post. All of a sudden, some things happen, life gets busy, and you can't remember to post. With this, what I do is once a week, I post for the next week, right? So I'll have 7 clips lined up in the chamber just to go, and then every Monday at 10 o'clock p.m. or whatever it is that you decide, I work for about an hour to post all of those clips there. So now you have a live stream on multiple platforms. You have long form posted to multiple platforms. Now you could schedule short form content that is created to be more eye appealing without without having to edit things or pick through things or anything like that. And you could plug it directly into there directly from this program. With those 3 programs, Google Meet, StreamYard, and this, you can do a ton of video content. Literally, like I have content for the next 3 months without trying on my TikTok and Instagram. And you are about to see every day posting multiple times on my TikTok and Instagram. I'm getting back to my old practices. This was a way for me to have some self-awareness of like, I remember what to do. Why am I not doing it? So those 3 things are amazing. Somebody had asked in the class, how do you actually post the audio podcast? And I drew a blank because the company that I used actually got sold to Spotify. So Spotify actually has like a Spotify for creators thing. And I like to use that. Spotify is probably the best place for podcasts. But there are some websites out there that you can find that will post it to all the podcast places for you. I'm just going to stick with Spotify for creators and then maybe, Apple for creators, since those are kind of the 2 platforms that everybody uses. But so now that adds another layer, because that long form video that you recorded can also be stripped and used as just audio in a podcast. So think about it. You make one long form video for 1 hour and a half. That gives you a live stream, long form content. Let's say you found 7 clips that were good out of that hour and a half. Now you have 7 short form clips for Facebook, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok and X. You have all these short form content to put out everywhere, and you get a podcast out of it. It's the easiest way to do it. That's how, if you're making content, it immediately becomes overwhelming, because then you're like, what do I do with all of this? This is kind of how you plan it, kind of how you mitigate the extra work involved and the extra stress and the things that are not enjoyable, in my opinion, about making content. I like this part, creating the content, and then I like, hearing feedback from it and seeing how it helps people. Everything in between, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. So those are the things that have made me very successful in social media as far as making content. The other part, and this is what I suggested to a few of the people that were on the call, is actually social media groups, like our own group, right? I call them commenting circles. So it's a little easier with the technology nowadays. Again, when I started, everything was kind of archaic and you had to do it. But I used to create groups with 20, 30 people in it, text message chains. And every time we posted content, we would post it in there and everybody would go like and comment on it. And then you respond to the comments. So say you have 30 people comment, you respond. Now you have 60 comments, 30 likes, just like that. And it helps to drive the initial traffic of it to reach more people. And think about it. You're on all these platforms with what I just told you to do. We have a big community here in Richly Rooted. So what I'm going to start doing is getting notified when all of you start to post your content, which is an option on pretty much everything. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of that has an option for you to be notified of when somebody posts content. And then by all of us commenting on it, it helps drive the traffic and helps us all to reach new people and more people. The other thing that I did was what did Gary Vee call it? The $1.80, no, $3 a day strategy, something like that, where you put your $1.80. It was $1.80, where you put your 2 cents in 90 times a day. So I would go to different hashtags and different entrepreneurs that I really liked, and I would just comment on there. So I would look up, hashtag cannabis, hashtag natural healing, hashtag HTMA, different things that have to do with it. And then you go on the hashtag, you find content that speaks to you, and then you comment in it. This is helping build a community. So now you just commented on somebody who has 500 followers, and they commented back, you have a little conversation, boom, they follow you. Now, if you're doing this every single day for like an hour a day, you're going to gain so many followers. I have 7,000 plus followers on my Instagram. At one point, it was 9,500 when I was very active. And I did 0 to 9,500 in not a lot of time just by doing that $1.80 a day method. So I think with my content creation help, turning long form into podcast, into short form, and then all of us working together to help push out the content, I think we can all be very successful in this. So I hope that this helped. Like I said, we're going to do another call. I just wanted to kind of summarize what we just did. And I hope that this was very helpful for all of you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment below. And happy healing. See you soon.